Within the universe of Five Nights at Freddy's, there is not a property with such a long and dark history as Murray's Costume Manor, or decades later, as it would be called, the Mega Pizzaplex. And not just what is above the ground, but what also lies below, a power source waiting to be harnessed. This video is outlining the history of the location of at least 5 games and 2 novels. This is my video for The House on the Hill. From the game Secret of the Mimic, we're introduced to the home of Edwin Murray. Perched on the side of a hill, this multiple-story home overlooks the family business. Surrounded by dense trees and large metal fence, Edwin's family home became home to his wife Fiona and son David. The bedroom to this house is decorated with wallpaper and ornate woodwork. The white bifold doors on the wardrobe are correct for the period the house was built. And this bedroom was also connected with various other rooms via a ventilation ductwork that ran through the home. Down the hill from the home was Murray's Costume Manor, a business that had been in operation since at least 1965. This family-owned business was passed down to the son Edwin following his father's passing. The business manufactured costumes for fairs and the like, and was later catering to animatronics able to wear those costumes. This multi-level business made use of a large circular elevator to access the different areas of the building, large enough to move around the large projects the business took on. Within the dense trees around the house, you may discover a small lake. Not clearly visible from the street, this lake seems to run deep underground, to the cave network we'll go over shortly. It was unfortunate when the owner's family passed away through unpleasant circumstances. Although a local businessman was also interested in the property, William Afton had already invested in a diner in New Harmony, Utah, so an hour's drive away in Hurricane was close enough to procure. Mr. Afton bought the property following Mr. Murray's not completing contracted work for Fazbear Entertainment. William, always the businessman, acquired both buildings and renamed the business Afton Robotics. The circular elevator was particularly useful in moving around those animatronics. Good idea for Edwin, but great idea for William. The house on the hill was also on the property of the business. While William and his family would not be living there, his friend Henry Emily and family would be. With some remodeling, the bedroom in particular would go through some changes. The bones of the room are the same, but the room became a master bedroom, remodeled away from the children's bedroom it had been. The Afton family had stayed in New Harmony, that was until 1983. Several years had passed since the sale and the diner was busy. The unfortunate event involving the 2 sons of William led to the injury of the younger brother. From recordings, we can understand that the antics of the teenagers carrying the younger brother was also met with a voice of warning. This voice was likely from co-owner Henry Emily, in charge of the restaurant, but not in the costume bear suit he had usually wore. Henry could have stopped this from happening, but he didn't. Guilt had set in for the father of 2. He took in the 2 brothers, while the younger brother was recovering. He did have the room. It was unfortunate that the next challenge to overcome were the nightmares the boy had. Every creak in that old house sounded like a monster was walking down the corridor for him. One night, Henry would return after finishing up the diner. The boy, clearly misunderstanding what was happening in the surrounding corridors, would break out of the bedroom. This wasn't the first time he had left. Several more years had passed, and in 1987, William Afton was connected with the missing children's incident, where at least 5 children went missing after going to the Freddy Fazbear restaurant in the later hours. While not jailed for the crime, William's actions were known to the community. The restaurant closed and Afton Robotics would be sold onto Fazbear Entertainment. William would disappear from the public's judgment. The Afton Robotics building had been used as storage for the unused animatronics. Some had been moved to new franchises, although the Funtime animatronics had been there since 1983 following the closure of their franchise. After 1987, the building was rebranded Circus Babies Rentals, and the Funtime animatronics would get rented out to public events. The house on the hill would experience another unfortunate event as inventor Henry Emily would meet his end from one of his inventions. Henry would leave his daughter Charlie to the care of his sister Jen. They would move to a town nearby, but the daughter would lose contact with her friends. Do you remember the lake I mentioned earlier? Well, the water from this was feeding a cave network underground. A glowing mushroom had developed the ability to store power, a revolutionary battery for inventors wishing to use their animatronics for longer. During an event years later, Charlie would return to Hurricane after a group of monstrous animatronics would risk the lives of the locals. This event ended underground within the cave network, as several animatronics were burnt in a lake that had formed. The children who had once frequented the Freddy Fazbear restaurant were able to walk away with the story to tell. The caves and mushrooms survived, although the animatronics would be left dormant. The Circus Babies rental facility was in operations for 3 decades after the Freddy Fazbear restaurant was closed. Now 2017, the rental facility was visited by Mike, the son of former owner William Afton. Mike worked as a security guard, although went missing after his first week. The Funtime animatronics went missing as well. Following this, the underground facility that once housed Edwin's mock-up restaurant was lined with metal and the building was rigged to control a fire. After a former manager organised the older animatronics be returned, they were planned to be destroyed. That should have been the end, although Fazbear Entertainment felt like bringing back the band. A new mega Pizzaplex was built over the remains of the former rental facility. The largest circular elevator became the stage for the glam rock animatronics to perform. All that usable space was going to a good use. That was until 5 years later, when an earthquake caused the collapse of the major part of the building. Deemed not safe to enter, Fazbear Entertainment had to leave their great experiment in an unstable ground it was built upon. Sometime in the future, teenagers would occasionally journey into the building, maybe to find some Freddy plushies or much sought after Mr. Hippo magnets. If they travelled deep enough, they would find the underground lake. The mushrooms are still growing down there. Maybe some of those older animatronics were still powered by the lake. So in conclusion, this plot of land carries some great history, starting as a costume factory and family home, becoming an advanced robot making factory, then on to being a distribution place for those animatronics still looking to entertain the children. Finally, a flashy and new mega Pizzaplex, a place where those old designs get to make a comeback. And if Hurricane is not to your liking, there's an old diner an hour's drive away. There's a story in that old building as well.